Welcome back. I hope you're doing well. We are going to do a scrap buster project today. We're going to make a fun little pot holder. How cute is this? Isn't that cute? Um, if you're like me and number one, we have an issue with buying fabric. I have that problem, and that's okay. I admit that. So if this is my group, hi, my name is Miss Ann, and I love to buy fabric. When I do my projects, I end up having all these little scraps left over. And so it's like, what do I do with them? So if you're new to sewing, I love to help beginners learn how to sew. And so this is going to be a great project that'll help you work on that straight stitching. Okay, so let me let you know what you need for this project. You are going to need 16 2.5 inch squares. Okay, so that means each side is 2.5 inches. Okay, and you need 16 of these. You can pick out whatever print that you want to. I'm using cotton material. You'll also need a strip of fabric that's 2.5 inches wide. Okay, by the width of the fabric. Okay, so that means you're going to go from selvage edge. See how I'm opening this up? All the way to the other selvage edge, okay? Miss Ann, what's the selvage edge? I'm so glad you asked. Selvage edge is the finished edge of your material, okay? Sometimes it'll have like numbers on it, it'll have colors on it, it'll have writing on it at times. And you have two. You have one on one side of the fabric, like if you open it up, and you have another on the other side of the fabric, okay? So anytime you see something that says width of the fabric, they're talking about if you open that material all the way up from right to left, that is the width of the fabric, okay? So that's what this strip is, and this is our binding strip, okay? This is going to be the outer edge of our pot holder. All right, then you're going to want, let's see if I can grab this here. You want some Insul-Bright, okay? And I'll leave all this information in the description. You'll want some Insul-Bright. This will help protect your hand from getting burned or what have you. And so you're going to cut it 9.5 by 9.5, okay? So that's square. And this right here is some cotton batting. I use Warm and Natural, and this will help like with any type of moisture. But you want cotton batting. You're going to cut it again, 9.5 by 9.5. All right. Lastly, with the fabric, you're going to want a backing. Okay. So whatever print you want to put on the back of your pot holder. And I just cut mine 10 by 10. Okay. I don't want to have to fight with, where it is hiding as I stitch it together. So those are the fabric materials that you need. Grab you some basting spray if you have some. If you don't, it's okay. We can use pins, but this works great so that you don't have to use pins when we go to stitch. You'll want some scissors. You'll want like a rotary cutter if you have it. If not, it's okay. You can just use scissors. Have yourself, a ruler. And then if you have binder clips, you can use binder clips or straight pins. And then lastly, y'all, this is my best friend, and this is Roxanne's glue basted. It's a temporary basting glue, okay? And I'm gonna show y'all how to use that today. All right, grab your scraps, cut out all of your pieces, and then meet me back here and let's start putting this project together. Okay, the first thing you're going to do is you want to take your 16 squares and you want to lay them out so that you have 4 squares across the top, 4 squares down, okay? So just look at your print and kind of see, how you want your design to look, and then just go ahead and lay that out, okay? Once you do that, we are going to work row by row, stitching these squares together, okay? So let's start with the first row, and I'll show you how we put this together. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab my first 4 squares, okay? And then I'll meet you over at the machine. All right, I have laid my pieces back out so that I make sure I stitch them correctly and how I want them to look. So we are gonna start with our right square, okay? And what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your square and you're gonna place it on top of the one to the left of it, okay? You're gonna line it up on this edge here, okay? And we're gonna stitch right along here so that we can connect these two together. Now, our seam allowance, I'm gonna move this up out of my way. Our seam allowance for this project is 1/4 inch. That means from the edge of our fabric to our stitch line should be 1/4 inch space, okay? So go ahead and line your fabric up. And if you notice, and for those who are new, you might be wondering, what is this contraption on my machine? This is called a walking foot. A walking foot. No, I did not cuss. I'm sorry. It did sound like it though. But so this walking foot kind of helps us when we start to deal with layers of fabric. Well, we're about to do that once we get our top sewn. So I just went on and put it on my machine. It's not going to hurt anything. So just so that you know what it is, if you want to know how to put it on, you can watch one of our previous videos, like the one talking about the storage pod or our zipper boxy pouch. We use a walking foot on there, and I kind of go into detail how to put it on. So go ahead and line your edge up so that you can do 1/4 inch stitch allowance. And you're going to stitch right across this right side, okay? Lower your presser foot. All right. And then lower your needle. Let me zoom in so y'all can see a little bit better. And then we are going to stitch forward and reverse. I know most quilters just stitch, but when I'm doing pieces like this, I like to reverse because of handling it. I don't want it to fall apart. Okay, so go ahead and stitch forward a few stitches and then reverse back over those same stitches, okay? And then go on down. And you're going to reverse at the end. All right, so now we've got that, and you can clip your threads, okay? You're now going to open this back up, okay? Now what we're going to do is take our next one, all right? So I'm going to take this print right here, and I'm going to take the two that I've sewn, place it on top, all right? So we're moving towards the left, so we're going to line this up. We're going to take this guy. This is our last piece that we have to do, all right? And you can do it one of two ways, y'all. This is not complex. You can do it one of two ways. Either take him and put him on top here. We're going to stitch down that side, but I like to have the bulk of my material hanging off the left side of the machine. So I do it a little bit like this. And so go ahead and line that up. All right. And we're going to stitch down this side, okay? I think I'm off a little bit. All right, again, cut your threads. I'm gonna cut mine. But now we've got our 4 squares, our first row, all sewn together, okay? I want you to do that for each row, okay? So go ahead and do your next 3 rows and we'll go from there, okay? All right, we've got all our rows done. And like I said, you put your squares together however it's easiest for you. But this is what your row should look like, okay? So all your 4 should be together and you should have 4 rows, okay? Before we put the rows together, we're going to press our squares, okay? We're going to press our squares here. And what I like to do is I like to do, have them all go to one side, but have each row alternate. So this first row, if I have them all pressed to the left, and what I'm talking about is if I have the seam, that's what this is called here. If I press this row where all these seams go to the left, then that means when I grab my next row, I'm going to have all my seams pressed to the right, okay? Reason why we do that is because we're going to end up nesting those seams together when we go to stitch our rows together, okay? So let's go ahead and press our seams. All right, so if you see here, if I flip these over, you can see what they look like. You can tell that they're opposites. Unless I messed it up. Oh, all right, you see they're opposite. So this row is going one way, this is the opposite, okay, so forth and so on. And what's going to happen is now we're going to connect our rows together, okay? And when we connect our rows together, if we start here at the top and we take these 2, we come closer to you. If we take these 2, if you'll see here your seams, okay? These are your stitch lines that you made. And if you look right here, see, they will nest together, okay? You won't have bulky seams all on one side, okay? They'll nest right together. You see that? And that's going to allow for your stitches and your seams to match up, okay? So you'll take that and then you can place a binder clip on it, okay? All right, once we've gotten them clipped all the way across, we're now going to just stitch all the way across at a 1/4 inch seam allowance, okay? All right, again, we're gonna line this edge up so that we are just doing a 1/4 inch seam allowance, okay? Go ahead and stitch forward and reverse. And then reverse at the end, okay? All right, now I want you to do this for all your rows, and you can see what it looks like now. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Do this for all your rows, okay? All right, y'all. I love it when pieces come together. I feel like the A-Team. If you don't know what that is, you can Google A-Team. It was like this old TV show. Mr. T, and then would say, I'd love it when a plane comes together. I love these squares. And so once you've gotten your rows all put together, it should look like this, okay? Y'all, you can do this same process for like coasters. Like, look at this. Picture this, okay? Look, you could do 3 across and 3 down and make some cute coasters, okay, that are really unique. But I'm excited about these pot holders. Now what we're going to do is we're going to press this, okay? So we're just going to flip it over. And for this, you don't have to do opposite sides. You can just press it all to one side, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. All right, we've gotten everything pressed. It looks good. Now we're going to start to just assemble everything, okay? All of our layers. So you're going to take your back piece, okay? And you want it to be wrong side up, okay? That means that back side is facing up, all right? Go ahead and take your basting spray, all right? If you are working on a table or something that doesn't have a protective mat, usually like a plastic bag, or you can put it over a trash can and do it. And just do you a light spray. All right. Next, go ahead and take your batting, okay, and place your batting on top. Try to center this a little better. All right, smooth that out. And then you can take your Insul-Bright, okay, spray that batting. Place your Insul-Bright down. Y'all, it doesn't matter if you have the shiny side up or down. It's not going to make a difference. At least I haven't noticed it to make a difference. And then lastly, take your squares that you just sewn together, and we're going to place it on here. Okay, so spray the back. And just center it. All right, so you should have some overage, okay? And we're doing that because we're about to quilt it. And I want to make sure that you have plenty of room, you know, to play with, to wiggle with, okay? So now we're going to take it over the machine and we're going to do kind of like a checkerboard type of quilting, okay? All right, we are going to quilt all of this together. If you don't have the basting spray, it's okay. You can use straight pins, okay, to pin your items together. It's not a big problem, okay? So I'm going to try to explain to you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do stitches that are going to straddle, be on the left side and the right side of our seam, okay? And I'm going to start in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my middle seam in the middle of my presser foot here, okay? Can you see that? I have that lined up in the middle of my presser foot, all right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my needle over to the left. All right, if you have a dial or something, move your needle over to the left. If your needle cannot move at all, then you can adjust your fabric accordingly. You just really want to be about, I guess it's about 1/8 of an inch from that stitch line, okay? And you do not have to reverse here at all. You're just gonna stitch a straight line, keeping that seam in the middle of your presser foot, okay? All right, I'm gonna show you what that looks like. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? Oh my gosh. It's not perfect, but that's okay. I'm not a perfect person. But this is great. So this is what we want to do for each of our vertical lines here, okay? We can go ahead and go to the next one and do the same thing. So go ahead, and I want you to do it for all of them. Okay, we've gotten all of our left-sided ones done, okay? Now we need to move to the right side of that seam, okay? So again, starting in the middle, line up that seam in the middle of the presser foot, and now we're gonna move the needle to the right, okay? All right, I'm all the way over to the right now. And now we're gonna go ahead and stitch down. Okay, I want y'all to see what it looks like. Look at that. Oh my gosh, I love it. All right, we are gonna do this for the rest of our lines, okay? And then you're just going to turn it so that you can do the same process with our remaining seams, okay? Wow, y'all, look at this. Doesn't that look so good? Oh my goodness, you guys did a great job. Look at what you've done. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we are going to trim our excess off, okay? So that we have a nice square pot holder, okay? So I'll help you do that. All right, so now what you wanna do is grab that ruler and grab that rotary cutter if you have one. If you don't have a rotary cutter, then use some sort of marking tool to where you can draw you a straight line so that you'll have something, a guide to cut, okay? So go ahead and you'll line that ruler up. And what you're gonna do is line it up with that edge to make it straight. You can also look at your seams, okay, as well. And then I just want you to take off this extra material so that you have everything is even, okay? All right, we've got everything edged up well, okay? And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a tiny 1/8 of an inch stitch all the way around the outer edge of our square here, okay? So go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you back here and we'll talk bias. Okay, y'all, we stitched that outer edge. See how tiny of a stitch that is around the edge? And all that is just holding your outer areas together, okay? Now, let's grab our bias binding that we had cut. That's that long strip that was the width of the fabric that was 2.5 inches wide, okay? So go ahead and take that. Now on one end, let's get to that other end. You'll probably have like a white trim here on that selvage edge. We're going to go ahead and cut that off. Now, I don't know why I decided to use plaid, but I don't know. I love the look of it. But you can use any print that you want to use. All right. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over to the iron and we are going to create a 90-degree fold. Okay. That's where we're just going to take our just one side, have that short side fold down to where it creates a 90-degree angle here, okay? So I'll meet you at the iron and we're gonna press this. All right, now we've gotten that 90-degree corner, okay? So now we're gonna take our bias binding. Now, this is binding. This is not cut on the bias, okay? Just because we're dealing with straight sides, so you don't have to worry about curvature. So you're going to take this and you're going to just fold it in half where the right sides are on the outside, okay? Just fold that in half, and we're going to press that all the way down, okay? All right, we've got our binding here all pressed, looks good. And now what I want you to do is I want you to measure down from the point, okay? Measure down about 5 inches from that point, okay? And once you measure down about 5 inches, go ahead and put a straight pin there, okay? And I'm going to show you what that means. So let's go over to the machine and we're going to start to put this together. All right, take your square here and just flip it over, okay? Flip it over to the back, all right? And what I want you to do is take your binding here and I want you to line it up so that it's lined up with the edge of our square here, okay? And what I do is, just because I'm so picky sometimes, where our fold is right here, I just line it up on one of these stitch lines, okay? I just line it up on one of those stitch lines. It kind of lets me know, have a guide here. But you can line it up anywhere you want to. It's not a big deal. All right, so go ahead and line it up. You're going to open up your binding, okay? You're going to open up your binding here. Now, you can use clips if you want to. It's so small, y'all. I'm telling you, it's really easy. You can just kind of hold it with your hand. It's not a big deal. But if binder clips or pins works better for you to handle it, then that's totally fine, okay? All right, so we're going to take our fabric. We're going to move it so that we're lining up with our presser foot here. And this is going to be a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And what we're going to do, we are going to stitch right down this side, and we're going to stop at this pin, okay? So line it up. Let me make sure I'm a 1/4 inch in, all right? Go ahead and lower your needle and your presser foot. And like I said, we're going to stitch down to our 5-inch pin mark, okay? When you get there, you're going to go ahead and reverse. And then you're going to totally come out, okay? So you should have this little stitch line going on, okay? If you do 4 inches, it's okay. Or 6 inches, it's all right. All right, so now we're going to close our fold back, okay? See how I just did that? It was once open and now it's closed. Sounds like a book. All right, close that up. And now what we're going to do is we are going to start stitching it closed where we left off, okay? So remember where we left off? We're going to start about right there. You can just eye it. All right, stitch forward and reverse. All right, we are going to stop stitching about a 1/4 inch from our edge, okay? So we're gonna go down and we're gonna stop about a 1/4 inch from our edge, okay? And you can take your ruler if you want to and mark it with a pin, you know, a 1/4 inch. You don't need that much room, but see how this is just about a 1/4 inch, and we're gonna stop sewing right there. And I'm kind of holding my fabric back. All right, once I get to about a 1/4 inch from the end, I'm gonna leave my needle down, okay? And just lift my presser foot. And I'm going to turn. I'm not folding anything yet, okay? I'm just going to turn my fabric to where now I can see my point. Can you see that? I can see the corner of my square, all right? So I'm right there. That point is right in the middle there. And I'm just going to stitch off that corner. And what you're doing is you're stitching like a 45-degree, okay? And come on off, all right? So that's what it should look like. You stitched down and now you just came off the corner, all right? Very good. All right, so now what you're gonna do, turn that to the side so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Take your binding and you want to fold it back, creating another right angle here, 45 at that corner. You see that? I know, y'all didn't know math was so much in sewing. All right. So you can just do a finger press if you want to make sure that you're nice and straight. So once you've created that, take your binding, you're going to fold it back on top of it where your fold edge is lined up with the edge of your square. Okay, I'm going to do that again. My fabric is like this. I'm folding it back where I'm creating like a 45-degree crease here in my corner, nice and right angled, and then I'm laying this on top of that crease, but where I'm lined up with the edge of my square. Okay, and now we're going to stitch down to the next corner and do the exact same thing again. And we're going to do that all the way around, okay? Okay, we are back around at this last corner, okay, where we need to bring these two guys together in holy matrimony. All right, so I want you to go ahead and stitch. And you remember that flap that we left open? All right, go ahead and take your fabric and have it to go past the fold, okay? Let it go past the fold, and then I want you to cut it. All right, and just cut that off. You're gonna take it, open your fold up, and we're just gonna tuck that baby right on in there. Make sure you stay nice and lined up, okay? Look at that. Look at my lines matching up. I tell you, Ann. All right, keep on going. And you're going to stitch right on across there until you get back to where you started. And then you can reverse. Very good. All right, y'all did it. We've got the back part on. And now I'm going to meet you over at the iron, and we're going to press this open. Okay, so your square should look like this on the back. It's actually kind of cute by itself. All right, so we're now going to take our binding and we're going to start to open it up, okay? And we're just going to press that open. And now we're going to flip it over. And go ahead and you can turn those corners, flip those corners over. If you, for some reason you have some bulk, you can go ahead and clip that corner, okay? All right, so it should look like this once we flip it over, okay? Now, this is where my best friend comes in, Glue Baste. And those of you all who are like natural born quilters, don't come for me here. I am not a quilter, even though I do enjoy quilting, you know, little things like this. I'm not a quilter, so I love this little process. It works for me, and hopefully it will work for you as well, okay? So what you're going to do is you are going to take this glue base, and I'm using the small little tip that comes with it. And you're just going to take that top off, all right? And this glue sets with heat, okay? And it can set on its own as well, but the heat just makes it set quicker, okay? And this is helping so that you don't have to use a bunch of pins. I have the binder clips for my corners, okay? So just take it and you're just gonna put a bead of glue right along the edge, okay? Not perfect, just put it from one corner to the next, all right? And then you're gonna take that binding and you're just gonna fold it over the edge, take your iron, and you're just gonna press it. Don't worry about your corners too much. Look at that. Did y'all see that? Oh my gosh, look. No pins. How cute is that? Oh my word. Oh, this makes me so happy. Okay, now we're gonna do the opposite side. Okay, so I'm just gonna turn it around. Same thing, if you've got some threads to cut, whatever, have yourself a nice cutting party, but put you some bead of glue on here. All right. Again, take that fabric, that binding, fold it over. Make sure that you are covering that stitch line that we have going around that we did with the binding. So make sure you're covering that. All right. Let's do them and turn it a little bit because it's easier for me to handle. All right, so now we've got the top and the bottom here, and now we're going to do these sides right here, okay? Now, I'm funny about my corners. I don't like my corners to kind of overlap. I like for them to fully look like a mitered corner. And so you might have to play with your corner a little bit, folding it, making sure that it lines up just like so. Oh, I know y'all been waiting for me to say that. Can you see that? All right, see how that corner looks? See how it's nice and mitered? Here, I'll hold it up. See that? Look at that. That's how you want your corner to look, okay? All right, so go ahead again. Take your bead of glue and put it right along here. You can put a little bit on the edge too if you want to help with that corner. Start in the middle. It's always best to kind of start in the middle and work your way out. Again, making sure you're covering that stitch line. And y'all, don't worry, this does not gum up your needle at all when you go to sew. Make sure I get my corner right here. And then I take a little binding clip, and I just let it hold right there for my corners because it's so thick. All right, let's do this other side. Okay, we are on the right side of the fabric now, and we're going to do a stitch all the way around the perimeter here. Now, I want to try to be extra, of course, and so I want to do like a feathery stitch. If you notice here on this and see how it's got a feathery design on the outside, that's just what I'm picking. You all can pick, you know, whatever design you want to do. You can do a straight stitch. It really doesn't matter. If you're using the Brother SE 600 machine, if you select your menu here and you go right here to number 2, select it, and then we're going to page forward by pressing this arrow. You'll see number 211. We're going to press that, and we're going to go up here to the corner because we're going to edit the size of this stitch. So press that. We're going to go to the highest width, okay? And we're going to go to the highest length, okay? And we're going to click OK. All right, so we're going to take our fabric here and we're going to line it up so that we are in the middle of the presser foot, okay? Now, this stitch is not going to let you reverse, okay? So don't try to reverse. It's not going to let you reverse. So keep the edge of our binding where it's folded in the middle of the presser foot, and you're going to see that stitch is going to jump around, jump around, jump around, okay? See how it's jumping around? But you just keep that edge in the middle, okay? We're going to stitch that all the way around, and I'll see you back to where we began. Okay, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. All right, cut your threads and let's show it off. Y'all, we did it. Feel like Dora. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, look at that. Oh my gosh, y'all, you did it. You did it. I'm so proud of you. Oh my gosh. These make great gifts, you know, for a new home, you know, wedding gift, someone just starting out on their own, whatever. You can put like a whisk with it in a little package, a spoon, you know, recipes. This is really, really fun. It just kind of really keeps you from buying that boring pot holder. Just kind of jazzes it up. Plus, it allows you to go through your scraps, okay? So I want to thank y'all for doing this project with me. Continue to like and subscribe our page. You guys have been doing awesome with that, and I really appreciate it. I love your comments. You all are funny. Love your comments. If you want to know more about us, you can go to soulphoriastudio.com and you can find out more about us. But until next time, and we get to create again, you know, keep creating in the meantime, okay? See you soon.